Welcome everybody. Man, I am like super excited about tonight's conversation. My name is Chris Williams. This is The World According to Chris. And I thought I would do a little something different because there's been conversations I've been having around a lot of different places, a lot of different people. And I thought I would bring this conversation a little bit more to the forefront. We are live right now on Facebook. So for those of you who are watching this, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching it live now, feel free to share because this is going to be a conversation that I think will probably be helpful to some people. That is my intent, at least anyway. And tonight what we're talking about is being a Black father in 2020. I have had so many different, intricate, nuanced conversations about fatherhood this year. Probably more than ever before, just because of the amount of different things that we had to deal with and talk about. And so tonight, what I thought I would do is bring somebody who I am getting to know more and more through our Get Live VIP crew. He is the man, the brainchild of the crew, and just honestly a dope Black dad. We probably need that shirt. So you know, our soul team probably need to hook that up, Eliseo. But let me just say this: the gentleman that you're going to hear, just really an open conversation tonight that I have with. He's a father of 2 girls and a boy. Something I always wanted. I ended up with the 2 boys and didn't get the girl. My wife ain't trying to hear that right now. So, you know, it's just interesting because of the work that he does, his background. I'm gonna let him get to all of that. But let me just bring to the front for conversation tonight. This is Mr. Eliseo Way III. Ladies and gentlemen, the
Hey,
man is in the building. Hey.
what's up, brother? How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Man, listen, I am great, man. And I'm actually excited that you are here because
Yeah,
I think one of the things that a lot of times, I think what happens is we have these conversations in pockets, right, that never
yeah,
make it to the front, right?
yeah,
And so for me, I was like, you know what, we have this discussion in a way that's healthy, that people can really jump in and probably take something from, right?
yeah. Absolutely.
Yes, this is a conversation about being a Black father in 2020, but I want to be mindful of all fathers, no matter what your skin tone is. I think you're
Yeah,
all having these discussions.
absolutely.
I just wanted to be able to give voice and thought to this conversation, right?
Yeah,
That's happening here because I know for me, I'm a Black dad, and I know that there are things that I'm always constantly like thinking about and wondering about, and then sometimes some people want to talk about it out loud, and some people don't. So I appreciate you
yeah.
jumping in. So without further
No,
ado,
man.
let's do this. Aliso, just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then let's just start with like what's the makeup of like your family dynamics, and more pointedly when I talk about family dynamics, not only just how many kids you got, wife, and all that stuff. Talk to us about your kids. Like who's the talker? Who's the one that doesn't mind like jumping in those conversations, and who's the one like,
Yeah,
oh, I don't know if I want to talk about that. Like, you
yeah,
go ahead. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah, my name's Eliseo Way. 38 years old, born and raised in Orlando, Florida. Yeah, definitely want to say shout out to you, Chris, for bringing me on your show. And it's just exciting times that we've been able to connect with different creators and different thought leaders, right? And the internet kind of, the internet has already been bringing us together, but it's a different vibe, right? Because we have
mm-hmm.
the live, and with everything that's been going on this year, I think a lot more people are just taking their productions to new levels and a lot more
Yes.
serious. So that kind of keeps people from scrolling past your content so much when they like, hold on, man, what is that? And it looks good, it sounds good. So just shout out to you and shout out to the whole Ecamm community, the Let's Get Live community. And just real quick, I know you said that was my brainchild, but I got to give a shout out to Doc Rock. That's really his
The
brainchild. The Let's Get
man,
Live
the
group.
legend.
Yeah, he let me get a little shine in there sometimes. So that's the big homie. But yeah, so as far as me, yeah, wife, been married. We got married 2012. Three children. My oldest daughter is 7, and my oldest daughter is 5, and my son is 2 now. Yeah, so a lot of times I can only stream around this time. Because that is when he is not screaming in the background being a 2-year-old, right?
Right.
So actually, a lot of times when I'm on live, a lot of my patrons will say, "Hey, man, we hear your kid in the background. Go check on your kid. Make sure he all right." I'm like, he all right.
Yeah,
He all right.
he's
Yeah.
fine.
No, you ain't worried about me. You worried about him. But no, yeah. As far as just the family dynamic, everything's good. Me and my wife, we both work from home. We both got our insurance license a few years ago. Actually, as one of my mom recommendations, because she's in insurance, and it's one of the things that I kind of put off for a while, and now with everything happening, it just made sense to be in kind of like a recession-proof type industry, which is what that kind of is, to be honest with you. So we both kind of do that from home. And we're both creative. She has a bumping YouTube channel. I have a bumping YouTube channel. So we kind of have that dynamic of work and passion. But either way, no matter if we're doing creative stuff or career stuff, we still have that mindset of we're doing it to serve and help people, right?
That's right.
So that's just that bit, and we're truly. We kind of already had that mindset of like homeschooling and just kind of unplugging a little bit. So when the pandemic happened, it was kind of already something that was already on our kind of radar, right? Because we were already coming out of the traditional work field, right? Where people got to go into jobs. We were already coming out of that and coming out of a few different things. So it kind of just was like confirmation for us, in our family, just to kind of like we were on the right path. Gotcha. So, I mean, as far as our children, my oldest, she's the outgoing one, she's the outgoing one. My middle one, you got to warm up to her, and then once you warm up to her, then okay, now she's your best friend. And then my son, I'm just kind of raising him, in that mindset. He's only 2, but I'm still raising him to be that, protector, provider, that person that kind of keeps the family, together. Even though he's only 2, but I'm just kind of raising him with that alpha male kind of mentality a little bit, so, but yeah, I can ramble on, so you got to stop me, bro.
No problem. Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that. So I want to kind of mention, and we got somebody here tonight. Yeah, okay, so he's a single father as well. There's a couple other people. Luis Vega. Hey, Luis, thank you for jumping on.
Hey, what's up, Luis? That's my little brother. That's my granddad name. Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican too. I didn't mention that I'm Puerto Rican. So
how about that?
Yeah, my granddad's Luis, and my little brother's Luis, and so yeah, so it's in the family.
See, Florida. See, this is the reason why I like people. See, I got the Florida Gators on because I was raised in Gainesville, Florida. So that's my hometown. All of that. We'll get into that later.
Oh, nice. Oh, you from Gainesville?
Absolutely. Southside, Eastside High School. Let's go.
Oh, my wife's whole family is from Gainesville. So
man,
yeah,
nice.
You may know the Saps. That's the
Probably
Saps
do. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Yes, it's a small city, so everybody know everybody.
That's right. So let's start here. So kind of the arc of this conversation tonight is just, when we think about all of the different moments that happened this year. Yeah. There's the moment, but then there's, oh crap, I gotta have this conversation with my kids.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's one thing when a moment happens and you can kind of just dismiss it. This was definitely the year as a father. There was so many moments in your face. You just couldn't dismiss these moments, right?
No, you couldn't. No.
So with having very young kids, and I got 2 boys in high school. So nice. my conversations,
you almost out the woods.
Almost junior and a sophomore. Let's go.
Oh wow! Congratulations, man.
So the thing I think that I guess what we could start is let's back up to the beginning of the year, because I think all of us had expectations. All of us had, like we normally do. Like right now, everybody's thinking about 2021 and their New Year's resolutions and what they're going to accomplish and all those different things, right?
Well, we got to get out of 2020 first.
We got to get out of here.
2020 acting, boy. You can't get too cocky around these parts, man.
That's right.
Just keep it together. I always tell my family and friends, look, the last 2 weeks, a month of the year, if you can, just chill at the house. If you
be at the crib. That's right.
Just chill. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got to be there, and that's forget the pandemic. I just kind of always been like that. So usually the last month of the year, I usually really unplug from a lot of different things like social media. This year's a little bit different because I'm kind of like helping to run a few groups, including mine. So I'm not really active on my personal page, but I feel that sense of responsibility to still keep my groups going. So I'm still serving in my groups and things like that. But before this year, for the last 10 years or so, the last quarter, the last couple months, the last month for sure of the year, I'm ghost, because it's an immense time of focus, right? And reflection. Yeah. If you really want to just kind of hit the ground running in 2021, you just can't wake up the first day of January and it's like, okay, what I'm gonna do now? You got to kind of have that
Yeah,
together. Yeah,
you're late.
some type of game. Yeah, exactly. Like you. So yeah, go ahead, brother. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. So with that kind of thinking, when we got to, we'll skip forward a little bit. When we got to March, and you as a black dad realized, uh-oh, my my dynamic of the way I am used to working,
Hmm.
my normal everyday routine, right, is
Yeah,
literally changed. There's no,
yeah.
I don't get a warm up, right?
Hmm.
I didn't get
No.
it. No, it's really getting ready to change. What was that like for you as a black dad to realize, oh, so I heard it said not too long ago, and it was the best way of putting it. They said the house was kind of the transient place that when your kids are going to school and active and everything else, y'all just, y'all kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah, yeah,
The house became the office, the playground, the right, the study hall, the
yeah,
library, the house
yeah.
literally became
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
What was that like for you as a dad, and what did you have
Yeah.
to consider as you were having to, get your kids to understand, no, y'all not going back to school. We're going to do this at home now. What was that
Yeah.
like for you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even more so because in my area, the kids went to school, back to school when school started back in August, and we kept ours home. We like now,
Yeah,
like I said, we
right.
were already going down that path anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a issue mentally. Like, do we want to really sacrifice the time and the energy and the effort to really figure out homeschooling and figure out how to
Okay.
really teach them from home? So we were already going down there. We were just kind of really fighting against ourselves. But when what happened, it was just truly confirmation. Like, yes, go ahead and go that route. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Mm-hmm.
for us, that didn't really happen in March. It really happened around April.
Okay.
And I remember, yeah, in April, that's when it was like they sent the kids home for the last, really, I think, couple weeks of school. And it was like, okay, all right. So now it's different from waking up at 6 in the morning, getting them dressed, having them to school by 7, to now still getting them up at 6. Like, just because they don't have to go to a physical campus, you still have
Right.
to keep that active schedule going. Or if you mess up their schedule with a child, repetitiveness is everything. Like, if you
Yeah.
get them trained, that's how you train a child, right? You stay to a schedule, you stay to certain behaviors. So we was like, okay, well, they don't have a physical school to go to, but we still got to get them up at 6. Still
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that they exercise. We still have to make sure they do their curriculums, and we still have to keep these things in place. I think the hardest part is using your imagination to be like, okay, for children as well, not so much for adults, for children to be like, well, at school you'd have been doing this at this time, so now you have to still be doing that same thing, but at the kitchen table, right? so,
Right. Yeah.
so it's kind of like takes a little bit of imagination, a lot of discipline, and for us, the transition wasn't so hard because we were blessed to have the mindset of to be working for ourselves, right, first,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
if not necessarily for ourselves, then to at least be working from home. We had that
Mm-hmm.
mindset for the last 10 years, right? So we've
Mm-hmm.
already been doing that, and it's just a blessing because I had a lot of my friends who they had to make a choice now, work or stay home with my kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was tragic for a lot of my friends. Like, just to see that they had to give up their job or whatever the case may be if their job wasn't giving them the option to work from home.
That's
With
right.
us, we had already been on that path anyway. So we just tweaked the hours that we were working from home a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, and make sure we had sufficient energy, time, effort that we were putting into our children. To be honest with you, the transition wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. So, we were blessed in that sense, to be honest with you.
Nice. Um, I know for me, it was a moment of, we're both entrepreneur parents ourselves. I have a corporate job, but we also own other businesses,
Nice.
and it was kind of one of those moments. And I'm gonna be really honest, like it was the best thing ever
Yeah.
because you know with kids who play sports, my job, I travel all the time.
Yeah.
My wife
Nice.
could be out of here in no time on a flight last minute because she's got something with a client for her marketing company,
Wow.
and it was almost a refreshing, like, no, nobody's going nowhere. And it was like, oh, that sounds really good to me right now. Like,
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
so for me, it was more of a, oh, this is actually a good thing. But now, I got to figure out a new routine, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a totally different new routine. The other thing that was kind of interesting was I was really curious as to how my boys were going to adjust with their schoolwork, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing when you got to go into a classroom and there's a teacher right there. It's
Mm-hmm.
another thing to literally be forced into what we considered in our house college life
Mm.
as
Yeah.
a junior and a sophomore, where
Mm-hmm.
nobody's, like, yeah,
In
we're
your
gonna wake
face.
you up. Yeah, but ain't nobody in your face, right?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
The only thing you got to do is open a laptop,
Mm-hmm.
so and get to curriculum. So to me, it was more of a. I was happy that my kids got the experience of
Yeah.
like, no, this is what reality will be like on the next level.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That, but it just won't be mom and daddy's in there, right?
Nope.
I was happy about that. Here's the other thing that I was happy about. I was actually happy because I, as a black father, enjoy connecting with my wife and my family.
Mm.
So to be able to be home and
Mm-hmm.
go, no, I don't get to make the excuse anymore as a day. Oh man, it'd be great to go on a date night, but I got to catch this flight. Nope, nope, nope. You're at home. You can do date
Nope.
night any day of the week.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah.
you know
Home.
what I mean? There's no excuses for the family time now, right?
That's good.
There's
That's
no
good.
excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy with that challenge, right? I was happy with the fact that if I want to just go figure out what the heck my boys are doing, they're just right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to wait for them to get out
Wow.
of practice. I don't have to wait for them to finish homework. I don't have to be mindful. Nope, they're literally right there. So for me, selfishly, I was really happy about it.
Wow.
Once we got into a routine, it was like, man, this is good. Plus, I did more house projects than Tim the Two Man Taylor. I was all over the place in this house because it gave me that chance, like to, oh wait a
Yeah.
minute, there's been one thing I've been wanting to fix. Like, oh good,
Yeah.
we getting it done, right?
Yeah.
So there was that aspect. So let me ask you this: we got closer to the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Just
think,
real quick, I want
yeah,
to kind of follow up what you said, and that's very, a very good observation because I believe, not trying to get too deep, but I do believe that what happened really did expose kind of the hearts of family members, fathers, parents.
absolutely,
It lets you know that something that you say you've been praying for, you say you've been
mm-hmm,
praying for more family time, you say you've been praying for more opportunities to be with your family, but now when this happens, now you bucking or now
that's
you
right,
fighting against it, right? So I
yep,
do believe that exactly what you said, like it gave us the opportunity to really see where our hearts at, really see where our relationships at,
yes,
and
sir,
where our vision is for our family. Because a lot of times, man, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times we say something, but our heart is kind of far from what we actually say. So
all day,
that was amazing that you mentioned that, and I've actually gratefully, but I've actually, believe it or not, I've seen kind of families get tighter, right? I've
mm-hmm,
seen like some of my homeboys, what I'm saying, I just know their routine. I know that they kind of, like what you said, they use work as an excuse, or
yes,
they use this as an excuse to be out the house, for periods of times. But when what happened, right? And I'm avoiding that word because I don't want like no algorithm to trigger what we're saying and stuff. So what happened had happened, then I've actually seen like them like really evaluate themselves and their family, and in some weird way it's like I see them and their wife and the husband is happier,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
And now they're smiling, and now they're
yes,
spending time together, and now the,
yes,
the father is home with the children more, so he's teaching. It was like, hold on, so really that had to happen for us
mm-hmm,
to really, and me included, myself included, what I'm
yes,
saying, because we can get stuck in a routine, right? And like, okay, well, I'm gone. But so it was kind of like a blessing in disguise when what happened, because now I won't say we were forced to, but we
mm-hmm,
we really had to say, do we how bad do we really want our family unit to be tight?
yeah,
And since what happened had happened, it was so right in front of our face to just like, now it's the time.
mm-hmm,
So either it's a time to really get these answered prayers that we've been asking for, or we're just gonna sit here and fight it and buck against it and really look foolish, to be honest with you. Because now,
yep,
as we go into the next phase of what's coming, the families who kept that unit tight, they're going to be on a whole nother level,
mm-hmm,
right? And
mm-hmm,
versus the families who was kind of going against what was happening, now they're still in the same position. You're still fighting, still arguing, still got financial issues. I
yep,
mean, this was a great time to get your finances together. Like, you didn't have to be out
man,
spending crazy money. You didn't have to
nope,
be out partying. You didn't have to be on a cruise ship. You didn't have to be like, I don't understand, or I do understand, but I just feel like at this point in time, it was a really good time to focus on your finances, your faith, your
yeah.
family, all those, those words, so yeah, go ahead.
Yo, listen, you're absolutely right. In fact, let's just keep it 100.
That's the only way to keep it, my brother.
Yeah. The like for us, I mean, our family, we still got up Sunday morning
Yeah.
and we put on church
Bam.
and we're on. Like I'm like, no, boys, we're doing this. Like, yeah, we might be at the house, but we're watching, right?
Yeah.
You bring up a good point because if you're in your marriage and you've been struggling because you can't communicate, and you to your point, you use work as an excuse, so now we just don't communicate. This was your chance to fix it
If you wanted to.
if you wanted to.
Exactly.
If you and I think this is one thing I learned a long time ago. And I will say this to all men: please go get counseling if you need it. Like don't be that guy that is above somebody getting in your ear and helping you navigate your emotional waters. Like counseling was one of the best things for me because it taught me a lot about myself and it gave me another person that I could talk to who wasn't on my side, who wasn't. It was literally an opportunity to just go in there and be like, oh, you mean to tell me I can come in here and just say what I'm really thinking and figure this out? Yeah, and that person was willing to be there. So let me say that up front. But the crazy part about it is that for me, and I was just telling my wife this the other day, the one thing that I realized that I've been craving was I wanted more connection with my family.
Yeah.
And 2020 gave me that. 2020 gave me that time to be like, honey, here's the areas I'm vulnerable in.
Yeah.
She's telling me what she's dealing with, and we're able to literally sit down and go hours if we have to and lay stuff out, put things in place, look at where we want to go, right? And too many people fight from negativity instead of fighting for something they want. To your point, right?
Exactly.
So 2020 was that chance. Like if you wanted your marriage for real, you can fight for your marriage because you had nothing but space and time to do that
opportunity.
thing.
Exactly.
That's all you had. There was no version of, well, I just ain't trying. I ain't got time. You had all the time you wanted.
All the time.
If you like, I'm a night owl. My wife is not, but.
Yeah.
When it's time to talk and we done with working and running around and opening laptops and Zoom meetings all day, we like, let's get it. Let's sit down. We got to chat, right? Like we got to
hash it out. Yeah.
Hash it out. So that to me was one of the best things ever.
Absolutely.
I just made a commitment to my wife because we have a blended family. So I inherited my two boys.
Okay.
And I made a commitment to my wife the other night, and I told her, I said, listen, because I know what God is speaking to me about, deepening my connections, right? And she knows me, like I always say it all the time. I'm halfway kidding, but I'm being honest. Every year I'm trying to be husband and dad of the year. Like honestly, like I'm that guy. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to be that dude every single year. And so
we need more guys like that. I remember back in the day, and don't forget what you were saying.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I remember coming up, and it seems like the fellas had such a pride, right?
Oh man,
it was such a pride in having that type of mindset. Like I'm finna dress right, I'm finna work, I'm finna provide, I'm finna protect, and they had a pride in that. It was like I don't know, but it seemed like somewhere that prideful manhood kind of fell off, right? And so I like to say I'm old school because I'm like, man, I just go back to the day when I was a kid, and I remember how much guys had that pride in protecting, providing. Being the husband, father of the
and
year,
happy about
it, and like it's a competition, like bro, like almost, like that alpha male competitive spirit. So I love that you said that, bro.
Yeah, man. I realized like just this year, it was like I told my wife, I said, you know what, like now I'm gonna take 2020 and deepen my connection even more with my boys.
Man,
I got a big homie, Mr. Taylor. He's an older OG. And he shoot it to me straight when I called him. Just the other morning, I called him. I needed something from him. He digging in a minute of the conversation. I'm like, all right, sir, let's listen. And he challenged me on something with my boys, and I was like, you know what? I'm on it. Because
what was the challenge?
The challenge was, he said, when's the last time? Like, this is literally the first 30 seconds of the call. Now, mind you, I'm calling him for something, and We ain't even well, we got there at the end, but but he an OG though, and I love his wisdom because he's always willing to give it, right?
Yeah.
Older gentleman, and he said, "When's the last time you just hugged your boys and told them you're proud of them?"
Man.
And I'm like, man, come on, Mr. Taylor, man, I'm calling you for something else, but see, when you surround yourself with good men who they just want you to be better, right? And they looking out for you. They don't mind telling you that stuff. They don't mind challenging you, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you know you can take it, right? If they know you like really gonna take it on the chin and do it for real. And I was like, you know what? I'm on that. Like I'm on that. Like we've been home. Yes, raising teenage boys in this environment is challenging. Raising teenage boys, period, is a challenge. But having to learn to navigate these waters, but at the same time, that fine balance of I gotta let them know that I see their growth, right? Mm-hmm. Like Absolutely. As much as I get on them, right? Mm-hmm. I gotta let them know, yo, I see that, right? Mm-hmm. And being as forgiving as I want to be forgiven, right? Yeah. So, and it's hard, right? It's hard, but that's a challenge for me, right? As a dad with two teenage boys, it's like you gotta love on them at the same time, give them the correction, but the love gotta kind of endure. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's not I don't have an answer. Ain't no flip book that anybody got. You're just dealing with it in the moment. But that was the challenge he gave me. He was like, "Yo, when the last time you just hug him and told him you're proud of him?" And I'm like, "All right, I got to do more."
Love it. You know, let's not separate love and correction because it's actually the same.
It's the same. It's the same. Facts.
Corrects.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so I think that's a train of thought that definitely going forward as fathers, right? We don't need to have that type of verbiage, right? Love is love.
That's right. Facts.
It's gonna correct you. It's gonna get you right. It's gonna do everything. It engulfs everything. So absolutely. Man.
So for those who listening, y'all don't all know Doc Rock, but Doc sure enough gives his tough love. It's love all at the end of the day, but it's tough. Yeah. And I love it because I'm like, yo, he telling me straight up what we need to change. All right, let's get it done. Let's do it. So we got to the summer.
Yeah.
And well, we got to April, so we got to back up to April.
Yeah.
We had one shooting. We had then it was like the rumblings of, certain things just this thing here has become your brand new news media because anything can be recorded live, right? Mm-hmm. And we saw some untimely deaths. We saw uncomfortable moments caught on camera.
Yeah.
Right. And you go back to the park situation, you go back to the Florida situation. When those moments happen for you, now that you look back, before we get to Mr. Floyd, I want to, because there was a lot leading up to that moment. And it just kind of all seemed to happen so fast.
When you said the park situation?
Yeah. I think the lady name was Amy with the guy who was in there. He was in the park bird watching, and a lady said he.
Oh, okay. I remember that. Yeah. We call it Karen. So the Karen.
Yeah, the Karen situation. So, so when those moments happened for you, did you feel a sense of responsibility to go, I gotta help my kids? I got to put some context to what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. Like, what was that like at that time for you? Because you got smaller ones. I have older ones. So what was that like for you and your wife too? Because y'all had to probably talk about it before y'all decided like how we gonna break this down.
Yeah, man. So I'm trying to see how I can word this because before I say anything, I got to say I believe God is sovereign, right? So I believe everything happens for a reason, with purpose, and so I keep that mindset going into anything. Like, well, hold on, I know this had to happen for a reason, for purpose. What was the purpose? Versus trying to freak out about it, versus trying to make excuses, or versus trying to cover something up. It's like, no, this happened for a reason. So with us, that's my whole family's kind of mindset. So now kind of going back to your question, when certain things happen, and I do have to say my children are younger. So if it was like your age, it would have been a whole different vibe. I really want you to answer that question, because from that standpoint, I really want to know kind of, where you took it with your boys, and I know we'll get there. Yeah. But with me, it was more like, if I can kind of recall back some of the earlier days of some of the madness when it was really going down, I started hearing my daughter say stuff like cops hate black people,
Mm.
and this and that. And I'm like, because I monitor everything they do, they watch, they say. I know
Mm-hmm.
you can't deal with them 24/7. So I know they had to see something from school or hear something from school.
All right.
And I'm like, where are you getting that from? Cops hate black people. Where are you getting that from? And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, then they start telling me about what their friends say and this and that. And then that's how you have to love them, right? And have to say, well, listen, and kind of, well, unfortunately, there are some bad people in everywhere, right?
That's
So it's
right.
not, you can't generalize anything, because at the end of the day, people would generalize black people. That's not
Yep.
fair. What I'm
Yep.
saying? Or generalize any social group or anything. So we have to stay away from generalizations, because that makes us just as bad as everybody else.
Facts.
So I kind of explained that to her, and that's just in and of itself a separate situation. But where it really kind of hit home a little bit harder for me as a black man, right? And I don't think I've ever even really talked about this, on live or anything like that. But it's a subconscious thing. So
Mm.
let's just be real. Let's just be real. Me and you could be driving tomorrow and get
Mm-hmm.
pulled over by a cop or whoever, and they having a bad day, and we have in the back of our mind, man, this person could literally kill me right now and just get a 2-week paid vacation.
Yes, sir.
Like, that's a real conversation
That's
as me and you
real.
having
Yeah.
as a black man. I'm pretty sure you see a cop get behind you and start going through your mind, right?
Yeah.
So just to kind of bring this home, my daughters would see the reaction of me driving, and they would see my facial expressions when a cop
Oh.
got beside me or got
Okay.
behind me. And where it hit me was when my daughter said, "Dad, why are you looking like that?" And I'm like,
Mm.
I'm a man. I'm like, looking like what? What you talking about? Looking like what? She's like, you just, your whole body expression changed when that cop pulled up, and then it's like, now I got to have a real conversation with her. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you can't fake the funk. You can't just be like,
Nope.
oh, they didn't just see that.
Oh, they saw it.
Yeah, they
And
saw it. They
the whole
saw
time.
the whole countenance. Just you set up, you got straight, and you kind of like looked around, and yeah, and you just have those
Change the
conversations,
music.
change the music, everything, bruh. So yeah, I definitely had a conversation with her, like, hey, listen, what's going on right now with, unfortunately, with police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely something that's kind of been already going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's only thing is, we have the ability now to see what's been going on with
Yeah.
cell phones and
That's right.
things like that. I remember I don't even know why I'm going this route, but I remember my first, encounter, with a police officer who pulled me over for absolutely nothing, to be honest with you. Just pulled me over because I was probably driving while black. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't a ticketed stop, which right there I could have probably did something, because he didn't give me a ticket.
Yeah.
He didn't give me a reason why he stopped me. He literally was just like, "Hey, what you doing over here?" I'm going home. you know. Can you give me a license registration? And not being combative. You never want to be combative. So
Right.
sure, comply with everything, before I end up dead, right? And that's been going on for a while. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that some of our young black men, they don't have the upbringing to know, hey, let me just get home. Let me live. Let me
That
get home.
there
Even
you
though this
go.
is wrong, this whole encounter is wrong right
Let
now.
me get to the house.
If I can't tell my story, if I'm dead because I said the wrong thing or didn't
That's
make the
right.
wrong move,
That's right.
now it just perpetuates more of the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a those are just kind of really dialing into your question. I have more of those type of conversations with my daughters and my children. Like, hey, listen, um, you know, even though this doesn't give you the golden ticket to live, it will give you a better chance to live if you comply, right? Because
Man.
we've seen our people comply and still get killed, right?
Yeah.
We've seen that. We've seen our people, yes sir, no sir, and still get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Do this, yes, I'll do this. Put your hands and still get killed. We've seen all that, so I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying, at least if you do that part, it will give you a better chance, right? And
Right.
that's the name of the game. Let's give ourselves the best
The best
chance
chance. That's
to
all
get
we
home.
need. Yeah.
Once we get home, then daddy got it, and then we can consult some lawyers. We can consult. We can make a big deal out of it once
Mm-hmm.
you get home. But first, just walk through the front door, okay?
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah, go ahead.
you know what, man? You bring up a good point, and I will say this year taught me who the most important key to all of what happened this year was emotional intelligence.
Mm, love that, love that, bro.
Listen,
Shirtable,
man. Listen, man.
shirtable.
It really taught me emotional intelligence because, to your point, if Eliseo is driving by himself or me and Eliseo in the same car,
Yeah.
and that moment happens, the best way we're going to have the best chance of making it at home is having some emotional intelligence. We cannot be immature in the moment, right?
Nope.
And realizing at the same time, is there a double standard? Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
we got that, right?
Yep.
But the only way that this is going to turn out in any fashion of working in my best interest, to your point, is your boy got to make it home.
Just make it home.
I got to get to the crib, because then if I make it to the house, right? If I can
preaching now.
if I can make it to the house, to your point, then we good, right? But
Gucci, yeah.
Here's the crazy thing about all of that. If my emotional intelligence, if I'm not emotionally mature enough to recognize the climate of what's happening in America, and at the same time go, you know what? I think it's best if I don't one, put myself in positions where those types of things, I can lessen my chances. But two, I gotta be mindful that there's a way I might have to operate for temporarily until cooler heads prevail, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that was the hardest part for us as men, because yes, we do walk around like Atlas, feeling like the weight of the world is already on our shoulders.
Yes.
We do feel like targets at time. We do feel, and like there was, so when this whole situation was going down, my wife made a statement on Facebook, and it was the dopest thing, because it was from a woman's perspective, but she talked about how Ahmaud Arbery's situation happened. My sons run in our neighborhood all the time.
Yeah.
They run with their white counterpart friends. And my wife literally put up, and she was thinking about this, and she said, in short, I have to explain to my kids why they can't run with them anymore. I'm now worried because my son would go run over the summer 10 miles around. I mean, just because he was running, keeping himself in shape.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now that's a problem. And now here I got to explain that to my 16-year-old, and in his mind, he's like, I don't are y'all serious right now? And we're like, unfortunately we are. You've got to be mindful, right? You can't be seen to create no type of assumption for anybody, right? Of what's going on. And that's hard. But what I realized was, in those conversations we were having, it comes down to emotional intelligence. I have to separate the justice from
the righteous.
The righteous.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Do I want justice? Sure. It would be awesome if we got that. But me being another body count ain't gonna help nothing.